it's Jilly from Jilly's Creative Corner. So this week we're going to be using an embossing folder. Stampin Up actually have a lot of embossing folders, and it isn't something I tend to use an awful lot of. I don't really know why, but it's not something that I immediately put my hand to. So this week we've got a beautiful embossing folder, and it's called Pretty Flowers, and it's this one here. And then I've coloured it in. This is the card we're going to make, and I've coloured it in with the blender pens. So that's the card. So I'm going to show you today how to just use the embossing folder and colour in the individual flowers, so you don't get it on the white bits in between. It's going to be an easy card, probably more time consuming for you, because obviously I'm not going to colour in each individual flower for the video, because it'll make a very long video. But for mindfulness for you, for relaxation, especially if you love colouring, it's a lovely little project to do. And apart from the actual colouring in that will take the time, all the rest, putting it together, takes no time at all. Okay, so I'll go back to my desk and we will begin. So this is the card we're going to be making. I use slightly different colours to colour in the flowers on the one that I'm going to do the video for the video. This is the embossing folder that I'm going to use. It's called Pretty Flowers. I'm going to use these dies, which is, I think, this one here, which will cut out this little label here. And this is the stamp set, Create with Friends. So you can use these big words, these larger words, like I did here, celebrate, and then use the smaller words. So I've put celebrate you there. You could have friends forever, amazing together, love, you could have love you forever. There's all sorts of little sentences that you can make up by using just the small words with one large word. So that's the three things that we use, the main one being this embossing folder. So this is my cut and emboss machine. This is the larger one. And to do the embossing, I always keep two of these plates just for embossing, so you don't have any cut marks on them. So you need two of these, number 3s, and you need number 1. And the base one will always tell you what you need to use. You always need this one, and then for cutting you need that sandwich there. For embossing, an ordinary embossing folder, you need that sandwich there. And if you have a 3D embossing folder, that we do have some of those, you just use plate 1 and plate 4, which is we don't need today. So to make this card, just the ordinary card base, I've used a basic white thick cardstock, an A4 sheet cut in half on the long side, so we have 5 7/8 that way, 5 7/8 that way, and 8 1/4 that way, scored at 4 1/8. So out of an A4 sheet you can get 2 card bases. So my next piece is going to be this piece, and this piece measures 5 3/4 by 4. And then the piece we're going to emboss is 5 1/2 by 3 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to pop it in the embossing folder. So you want the Stampin' Up logo facing up, and this is, you have a negative side where that's all dipped in, and then a positive side where this is standing up. I turn my paper over, and then when I've got it in there, I want to see I can move it around. I've got room inside this embossing folder so to move it around. So if I want to have that whole flower in and not miss some, I can just pop this over a little bit so we get the whole flower in, and we get that whole flower in as well. We just lose a part of that flower instead. So it's wherever you're happy. I just pull this one down a little bit so it's not right up. And then we get the flowers and not just that tight edge there. Okay. Then when you put it in the sandwich, so you have plate number 1, then one plate number 3, then the embossing folder, and it always goes through your machine with the seam first, not the open edge. So the seam first, so you pop that down like so, and then pop that second number 3 plate, bring in your machine and just and it's meant to make those cranky noises. Don't think you've broken your machine. So just take that out of the way. And then lift that up. So you've got these petals are all stood proud. If you flip it over, you can equally use the other side where they're in a dip. We're going to colour in the ones that stand proud. So this is the piece that we've just embossed with the embossing folder, and this cardstock here is called Highland Heather, and it's from the Subtles range from Stampin' Up. So what I've done is I've taken all the Subtles blender pens that I have, that they currently do in the blender pens, which is quite a few, as you can see, and I'm going to colour the flowers and the leaves in using these colours. They're alcohol based and they come in packs of 2, so you get this is Highland Heather Dark and you get Highland Heather Light, and that enables you to blend the colours together. So I'm going to start, because my piece of cardstock that is going on here as a backing piece is Highland Heather, I'm going to make the larger flowers Highland Heather in the 2 tones, and then the smaller flowers I'm going to do in some of the other subtle colours. So on the larger flowers I would use the brush end. If you've got smaller areas, then I would use the thinner pen end, if you like. So all you do is, because they bleed out, so I would bring it into the middle first and then just tutor it out to the outside edge. And you're just doing the raised up bits, and then I just turn it round. It's really relaxing colouring in. And with these, you almost only have to sort of tickle it on. And you can just see there's a little bit there, so I just almost by the tip, I just put it on the end. So I'm going to do all the outer petals in this darker one. It's an absolutely beautiful day here. So I've done the outer edge in the darker Highland Heather, and I'm going to do the inner bit in the lighter one. Because it's a bit smaller, I'll probably use the other tip. I'm sure you'll take a lot more care. I'm trying to just show you quickly for the video. If you're getting right near a very edge, just flick it as if you're using our Stampin' Up pens. Just flick it so it doesn't go. It doesn't matter if it goes over a little bit, it's just giving it an edge to the flower, but you don't want it to completely fill up the white bits. And then it dries, it'll dry lighter. So then I'm going to come in with, so on the subtles we have so saffron for the yellow, and we've got a dark one and a light one. So I'm going to use the dark one and the thin end just to do these centre, little centre bits. And you can almost dab it on like so. So there's your centre flower. So basically you're going to go around all your flowers, colouring them in the colours that you want. So you end up like this with all your flowers and leaves embossed. Should I say, all your flowers and leaves that are embossed on the raised bit you want to be colouring them all in. So I'm going to go away now, and if I just show you, we've got two greens. I'll just show you the leaves. We've got two greens in the subtles. We have mint macaron, a dark and a light, and we have light soft sea foam and a dark soft sea foam. There. So I'll probably do a mixture of the two on my leaves, because you've got those sort of leaves like that, and then you've got these sort of leaves. Don't know if you can see those leaves there. So this one is dark soft sea foam. And it picks up the colour really nicely. It's quite hard to see with the sun shining through the window, but I really don't want to draw the curtains. We had such a damp, cold couple of days, and now the sun's come back. I quite like seeing it. I don't really want to so trouble, you have to concentrate a bit when you're colouring, don't you? Okay, so you're getting the idea that you only colour in the raised bits, not the bits that are flat. And on the smaller bits very carefully so that it doesn't go over too far. It's fine if it goes over a bit, just to give the flower the outline, but you don't want it to go all over the white. Okay, so this is how I coloured mine in. As I said earlier, I used the Settles colours, as they come in light and dark. So that was the dark balmy blue and this was the light balmy blue. And this one here was the dark petal pink. These leaves here were the dark, they were the light mint macaron. These ones here were the dark soft sea foam. And this was the Highland Heather dark and this was the Highland Heather light. So that was all the colours I used on mine. So I'll just bring in these samples I did as if you just did the one colour. So this one was one colour. This was the dark. Okay, so this one here was just the one colour, but in the two tones. So this was the dark Magenta Madness and this was the light. So just one set of blender pens did both those, and that was just jade. I also, I'm not sure if you could see, I put Wink of Stella on the flowers to make them shiny, and I put it on that leaf there just to show you that you can Wink of Stella it. And then this one was some more of the subtles. This is a subtle, it's called, this one's called, this was a dark Calypso Coral, and then of course you get a white one. So this is how they can all look so different. And with the card that the sample cards I made, how you can make them look so different depending on what colours you use. So all we need to do now, we've done the colouring in, we need to just get these dies, and I used this die here, so it was, if you're going from the outside, 1, 2, 3, 4, die number 4. Obviously if you're going from the inside it's die number 3. So I pop that through the cut and emboss machine, and that's my label there. And then I'm going to decide which colours. So I'm going to pick up this colour here, the Highland Heather, and probably the blue because that's predominantly what I've used. So what I'll do is I'm just going to, because I'm not sure what colours I want to put on here, I'll do 2 colours. The big word I will do in one colour and then the smaller word in another. But what I'm going to do is, because I don't know which colours I want to use, I'm going to bring out the colours that I've used mostly on here. So I think I'm going to put, so on this one I think I'm going to do Celebrate again, but Your Day this time. Okay, so I'm just going to pop it on here to see which one I like the best. So as I've got 3 words, I may very well use all 3 colours. So if I got Celebrate, Your Day. I think that is what I'll do. I'm going to use all 3 colours on here. Now it doesn't quite fit, so if you make sure that you've got the C in, it doesn't matter about the massive tail because it will just go off the page, which is exactly what I did on that one there. So this one's Highland Heather. So there's your Celebrate, and then Balmy Blue for Your. And then Petal Pink for Day. There you go. So that will go on there. Right, so what we're going to do now is, so I've done a ribbon in this one. This is Highland Heather, and it is called Gross Grain ribbon, and it's a bit shiny, very pretty. So all you need to do now is pop some glue, I'm using liquid glue, onto the back of your embossed piece that you've coloured in, and you're going to put that on top of this, your coloured cardstock here, and now you're going to put glue on the back of this piece here, okay. Bring this in, so you've got a fine border all the way around on this one too. That, and then I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. You never need to waste any of your dimensionals. These side bits are really useful. So what I'll do is I will come along, put 2 strips along there like so. I think I'll just pop one in there. One in there. So that's going to sit on top like that. And then, as always, I eyeball it. I'm going to pop it about here. And then I'm going to bring in this ribbon, and I want it to go like that, but I'll just cut a little bit off, so I'm going to put that on with glue dots. Turn that over. I always cut the long ends off afterwards. So I'm going to put a few glue dots on the back of there. I'm just going to pop this like so. I want these to pop out a little bit, so if I got it. There. And then I'm going to get my scissors. Like that. And then I'm just going to come in with some sparkles. As I said, if you want to, you can bring in your Wink of Stella and just Wink of Stella some of the flowers. I quite like it how it is at the moment. So I'm just going to bring in some pastel pearls. Oh gosh, they're pretty. So these colours of the pastel pearls are the Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, Rocco Rose and Seaside Spray. So this would be the Highland Heather, but I quite like these Gorgeous Grape. So I'm going to have a look, because actually that Rocco Rose looks like it might go nicely with that. So let's see. If you just put them down gently, you can decide if that's where you want them. And that one down there. So you've got 3 going up. So these are called Pastel Pearls. Beautiful. So this is the cards. Just a lovely way to use an embossing folder. We do actually do quite a few embossing folders, Stampin' Up do. I think, as everybody knows, unless they haven't seen my videos before, I do actually love flowers, so I'm always drawn to flowers. So this is the card today. This is the one that I did as a sample, so you can see 2. They look very different. I've used different ribbons, but it's the same technique of colouring. And it also depends where you put your paper in your embossing folder as well. You know, I've got a big flower there and a big one there. If you look at this one, I've got more of that flower there and less there. Less flower there and more there. So you can pick up all the bits that you want to in an embossing folder. So there's the project. I really hope you liked it. Hope you use embossing folders. I'm sure I'm going to start looking at mine a bit more, because I think it makes a lovely change instead of just stamping all the time. The embossing folders are beautiful. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.